Welcome to the first pay-per-view of the new millennium for WCW. This is WCW Mayhem live on pay-per-view. Before we kicked off the show, I wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what's going on backstage, because we have some locker room incidents that we need to take care of before the show. So I'm going to start with what I assume to be the good locker room incidents, and that is with Brian Knobbs, Terry Funk, Randy Savage. You know what, I'm actually going to start with the one that I know is going to be a really good one, because Randy Savage has taken CM Punk under his wing as a protege. There are very few better mentors that you can have than the Macho Man Randy Savage. Good on you, Macho, for taking the young man CM Punk under your wing as your protege. Imagine how that would have happened in how good Punk would have been. How much I don't know. I mean, it's scary to think if Punk had even more direct influence by Macho Man Randy Savage, how good he could have been. I'm not saying he wasn't good, I'm just saying. So let's move to the next one. Ooh. Brian Knobbs was brought before Wrestlers Court accused of failing to pick up his share of the tab at a bar. The judge, Terry Funk, found him guilty and sentenced him to buy drinks for everyone after the show. Brian Knobbs' behavior has improved. See, my best suggestion, if you don't know what Wrestlers Court is, look it up and you'll know. But if you have never played TEW 2016 and you're only coming off of EWR or TEW 13, things like this, are something that have been added this game. So yeah. Lodi turned up clearly hungover as his employer. You can choose to, how to deal with the situation. Slap him on the wrist. I'll slap him on the wrist because he's hungover, he's not drunk. If he was drunk, then that would be different. And of course, what would this show be without me actually booking everything before we jumped in, before I got on camera? You know what? Let me know down in the comment section below if you'd prefer me start booking the shows at least somewhat on camera like I used to, or if you're okay with me keeping it the way I do it now by just doing everything off screen. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to book a pre-show match, because I feel like Buff Bagwell doesn't get booked enough, and he needs to be booked, and that's why I'm booking him on the pre-show, even though, yes, you could say, oh, you could just book him on Nitro tomorrow. Yes, you're right, but there's no difference. Also, if you wanted to know where the timestamp is, or the show percentage, or whatever, the angle to match ratio, in this game you have to turn it on, or in some databases you have to turn it on, and if you don't, it's off. I want to turn it on because, as you can tell, even with the ability to book as much time as I want, or as much time as I want, I still book upwards of 3 hours. So, or about 2.5 hours. So, it doesn't really matter to turn it on, have it on or have it off, because either way I'm going to book the right amount of time. Because as you can tell, there's 23 segments, then again, I'm pretty sure one of the previous Nitros had 30 or something. Or maybe that was in a different season, I forget. Huh. I've been doing pretty good with Thunder the last couple of weeks. I've sold out the last 2 weeks. I wonder if I'll sell out tonight. Well, we'll find out. Let's jump into the show. Also, let me know down in the comment section below if you would want me to maybe do an episode in each series where instead of doing, the pay-per-view and then a Nitro in separate videos, I just keep the recording going and I do Nitro too. Yes, the video may be, an hour, hour and a half, but if that's something you want to see, let me know down in the comment section below. But with that out of the way now, let's get to the show. As Buff Bagwell defeats Jerry Flynn in the pre-show match in what they call a terrible match, I call it an average match, because a pre-show match doesn't have to be good. Yes, they say the pre-show match was a terrible match, but yet this got a worse final rating. Go figure. Let's go see. Odd face heel combination. Penalized for motivation, penalized for inconsistency. Was it both Chavo Guerrero? Oh, jeez. Huh. He got penalized for motivation and inconsistency, and yet he's the new Cruiserweight Champion. Yep, that's right. The pay-per-view kicks off with Juventud Guerrero against Chavo Guerrero. Juventud Guerrera versus Chavo Guerrero for the Cruiserweight title in the opener, and Chavo walks out the new Cruiserweight Champion. Chavo sustained a stinger in the match. Thank you, Buddy Lee Parker, even though that's Dale Vesey's picture. This is not actually Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker or Dwayne Bruce, rather. Sorry. That is Dale Vesey, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker's tag team partner from when the Sarge was a wrestler in WCW. Not that you need to know that, but it does have to do with it. So now let me explain the point of this match. The point of this match, I told you that the last vacated title will be defended tonight, and the new United States Champion will be crowned tonight, and that is the case because, much like I did with the television title a few weeks ago on Thunder, I'm doing the same exact thing with the United States title tonight on the pay-per-view. Why? I couldn't think of anything else to do. I didn't feel like doing a tournament. I didn't feel like doing another battle royal like I did for the Cruiserweight title. I just felt like, what the heck, let's do it. Let's do the same thing that we did. I do have other ideas for the titles, but I'm going to save those for the rest of the year as the series goes on. But now Eddie Guerrero wins his match and advances to the match to determine who is United States Champion. Now we head backstage as basically the Animals are bragging about how Eddie won and how they're going to beat the Revolution later tonight, and how tonight is going to be a great night for the Filthy Animals. Now we move forward as the tag team titles are defended. The Varsity Club versus the Blue Bloods. Rick Steiner and Mike Rotunda defeat Steve Regal and Dave Taylor. And if you're curious, out of all the tag teams, why did I pick Steve Regal and Dave Taylor? Well, think about it. Harlem Heat and the Outsiders are feuding. The Revolution and the Animals are feuding. So who else did I have? And by the way, it was a 2-week feud. It's one pay-per-view match. Give me a break. At this time, WCW was doing a hell of a lot worse than what I'm doing in this season. Just putting these two in the ring together. And by the way, it was a good match. A 61 for the tag team titles is actually a good match. Now we head backstage as the Revolution are standing by with Gene Okerlund, and they talk about how they saw how the Animals are so cocky and they're going to be taking down a peg tonight in a 6-man tag because the Revolution starts tonight. Now I just want to explain this too. Meng by far has one of the best Meng by far in this season has one of the top momentum. Meng's momentum is by far one of the top momentums on the roster, meaning he's on a hot streak. But as you remember, Meng never really gets used. So that's why him and his manager Jimmy Hart came to the ring and issued an open challenge. That's why Meng and his Jimmy Hart came out and they basically came out to say that they're sick and tired of taking a back seat, and it's not going to happen anymore. But Meng was a part of the Fatal 4-Way match, and Meng came up short against Chris Benoit, which means Chris Benoit will face Eddie Guerrero later tonight for the United States title. And by the way, Benoit led the match with a 76, Meng was second with a 66, Road Warrior Animal was third with a 54, and Berlin was the weak link of the match, struggling to keep up with everyone else in the ring. As you can see right here. So now let's move on to the next match. Booker T and Stevie Ray get promo time as Booker T and Stevie Ray. Well, Stevie Ray gets the mic and says, "Nash, Hall, you want to talk about legacy? Our legacy in this company is that of fighting champions. It's that of champions who have the capability to put the division on their back and carry this company because we are loyal to WCW." And then Booker takes over. "The only thing you suckers are loyal to is the bottom line, because the only thing your legacy shows is that you are bullies. And you can't bully us, because we're just like you, and we're out to prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Harlem Heat is not just the best team in WCW, but will be the last team standing as far as the history of WCW tag team division and its golden age. Now can you dig that, sucker?" Now we cut to the broadcast team of Tony, Mike, and Bobby as they put over what happened 2 weeks ago on Nitro when the year kicked off with a big main event between Eddie Guerrero and Bret the Hitman Hart. And Bret Hart, following the match with Eddie Guerrero, fainted right in the middle of the ring. And then it was found out about a week ago that Bret Hart, about a week ago, that Bret Hart would have to vacate the WCW World Heavyweight title, thereby making the tournament that was originally for his number one contender, to determine his number one contender, would be to crown the new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And now, speaking of the open challenge match that I thought happened earlier with Meng, Bam Bam Bigelow comes out and once again issues an open challenge to anybody backstage to come out and face him for his hardcore title, as he holds up the hardcore title. And out comes the mysterious Vampiro, and unfortunately for Vampiro, the Beast from the East is once again victorious, retaining his hardcore title for the 4th time. And if you want to know, unlike WWE, WCW's hardcore title is not 24/7. It can only be contested in the ring, not anywhere, at any time. But following his victory over Vampiro, Bam Bam picks up the shtick and calls out the WCW commissioner, Terry Funk, and saying something to the effect of, "When I won this title, I thought it was a joke. Because look at it. It doesn't look like a championship belt. But as I've held it, and as I've competed, and as I've won, I've realized that I can make this belt mean something. And if I want the ability to make this belt mean something, then I need to beat a legend of hardcore wrestling. Funk, I need to beat you. So get your ass down here. Let's do this one-on-one in a hardcore match, and I'll put this on the line to go against you." Unfortunately, though, Terry Funk does not respond to his challenge, and Bam Bam Bigelow proceeds to leave the ring as we cut to a video package highlighting how the matches that took place earlier tonight that led to Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit getting into the finals of the United States title match and getting a United States title shot later tonight, or right now. And, baby, here we go. In a bout that featured good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Chris Benoit defeated Eddie Guerrero after a distraction from Isaiah, and Benoit has become the new WCW United States Champion as the Revolution continues to be a thorn in the side of the Filthy Animals. But even though Isaiah screwed Eddie Guerrero out of the U.S. title, tonight is the last night for the feud between the Animals and the Revolution, and whoever wins the six-man tag team match basically wins this never-ending feud between the two factions. And now we move forward as Booker T and Stevie Ray and the Outsiders collide in a highly anticipated matchup between two of the most legendary tag teams in WCW. And Harlem Heat are actually victorious over the Outsiders as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall walk out on the match and get counted out, basically seeming like they wanted nothing to do with the match. So now we move forward as we cut to a video package that highlights the feud that has been going on between the Animals and the Revolution. And now to the match as Billy Kidman, Conan, and Rey Mysterio Jr. defeat Shane Douglas, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn as the Filthy Animals are victorious over the Revolution, and the Animals win the feud. Well, much like Chavo Guerrero did in the first match, Shane Douglas suffered a stinger in this match as well, which just basically means it's not a serious injury. But unfortunately, Billy Kidman is catching some heat backstage because of the injury, because he felt like it was his mistake. Or it felt like it was his mistake. Well, good. Well, now we cut backstage to Gene Okerlund, who's standing by who was able to catch up with Hall and Nash, the Outsiders, and Gene asks, "Why did you guys walk out? Why did you guys leave your match with the Harlem Heat?" "Gene, we walked out on our match with Harlem Heat because we have nothing to prove to them or anyone here tonight. We are the only reason why this company is still in business, because without us, there would have been no NWO, no national recognition, no big-time contracts. We changed the perception of this company, and Harlem Heat could say how they're one of the best tag teams in WCW. We are WCW. We are the reason why this company is running a pay-per-view tonight, because without us, none of this would have been possible. Then Gene turns it over to Scott, and all Scott says is, "One more for the good guys." As they walk away. And now we head into the NWO locker room with Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, and a few, of course, you're in the NWO locker room with Scott Steiner, so there's got to be women around. Jeff walks in and asks Scott about their match later tonight, or the main event, and how it's going to work. And all Scott says is, "Jeff, you and I both know we want the title. But if you try and screw me, that's going to be the last mistake you make in that ring, I promise you. Because Big Papa Pump is walking out with the WCW World title." And now we move to the main event as Stacy Keibler, guest ring announcer Stacy Keibler, comes out for the match introductions for the main event as Stacy Keibler does the introductions. Introducing first from Nashville, Tennessee, the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett. Introducing next, he is from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. And introducing next, being accompanied to the ring by Kimberly. He is the King of the Diamond Cutter from Jersey City, New Jersey, Diamond Dallas Page. As the bell rings and the match gets going. Sorry, I'm just looking if tickets went on sale for Final Battle yet. I apologize. As the match gets going and it gets underway, Scott Steiner, as the dust settles, Scott Steiner ends up the new WCW World Champion as he makes Jeff Jarrett submit to the Steiner recliner and wins the WCW title, leaving people puzzled because I don't think anybody expected Steiner to beat Jeff Jarrett. I think everybody expected him to beat DDP, but expect the unexpected is something I'm going to start pushing in WCW. And I promised it, and it happened. Bret Hart comes out to crown the new WCW World Champion, as Bret Hart was in the by the timekeeper's table watching the match. He grabs the title, goes in the ring, puts it around the waist of Scott Steiner, and raises his hand as the show goes to black, with the new WCW champion standing in the ring with the former champion and Scott's new manager, Medeja, who you will meet tomorrow night on Nitro. So the pay-per-view increased our popularity in 34 regions, and by the way, I do believe we sold out the River Center for the pay-per-view, but we increased our popularity in 34 regions and only lost popularity in 11. Not bad for our first show. Hopefully we can get better as time goes on, as we got a 73. And yes, I will say that the main event did disappoint a little bit, but there's always next month to build up. There's always next month to build upon, and we have something to build upon, and that is getting better than a 73. But let me know in the comment section what you thought of the show. What was your favorite part of the show? What was your least favorite part of the show? What would you have done differently if you were me? And just out of curiosity, would you have finished who would you have made win the WCW World Title? Or do you agree with Scott Steiner winning the title? Let me know all that and more down in the comment section, as feedback is always welcomed. And if you liked the video, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here on Wrestling Express. Till next time. Later.